Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about the listing that I went to go preview yesterday. Those of you guys that follow me may have seen this in my stories. If you guys are following my business page, it's pretty loud, so I'm going to pause it. Those stories disappear within 24 hours. So if you want to look at it, check it out. My Facebook business page is Vildosola Real Estate. Sometimes I send out invites. It's been a really long time since I've sent out any invites, so you can easily access that through my account. But anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about that house because this is a really nice house, and I like to show you guys how I do my comps, and I like to show you guys, what I think this house, and what I think about its potential. So this house is pretty close. It's closer up. If As you can see in the map, if I zoom out, it's approaching the foothills. So usually these types of houses in this area have a little bit of a view right here. In this case, this house's view is from the front yard. Um, so that's where it would be. There is a wash that runs by. I don't think it runs through the house, but it's pretty close. So I really, really like the area. And the reason why I like the area is because most of these homes have a lot of land. And not only that, but if you notice, there's a lot of vegetation in between right there and here. So I really like that because it's larger plots of land. It's a little bit more private. And as you can see, most of your neighbors have pools. And I just think it's a really great area to live in. Yes, prices are a little bit on the higher side. And as I'm looking through this price, one of the things that I like to look at if I was representing you as a buyer is I would be looking at cumulative days on market. It's been 82 days. Usually, when a house is priced right, they tend to sell within 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the price point of the property, right? These higher priced homes also sell within 2 to 3 weeks if it is priced right, because there's always a buyer for the perfect house. I actually love this house because I love character. I love the Saltillo floors. I am very big on exposed brick, especially when it has some sort of a whitewash. I love, courtyards. And I like the layout of the house. The bedrooms were really big, and there's so much space there's so much livable area in this house that I think that there's actually some space to add a fourth bedroom, but we can talk about that later. When I walk through this house, the carpet smells like it's brand new. So they may have replaced this before putting it on the market. I'm not quite sure. And I just adore the pool and the patio. You may have seen that on my video yesterday. Check it out. My music was really loud, so it could be a little bit annoying. But as you can see, I really, really, really love when their driveways are circular because I think it's, just a lot of room for extra parking. I live with my parents, my nephew, and my brother, so we have tons of cars, and it's really nice to have all that extra parking, especially when people come and visit. I did notice throughout the house, this house may have been for somebody very short, just like myself, or somebody that actually had a wheelchair because all of the switches were pretty low, and this kitchen island was also very low. So I'm thinking somebody that was on a wheelchair was living in this property at some point. Um, like I said, I think this is a great house. I did pull comps on it because it always comes to my attention when they've been in the market for so long. So as I pulled my comps, I use a couple of different things. Why do I use a couple of different things? Is because I always try to see where the listing agent is coming from when they price a property, right? I try to find what they found um, to explain their opinion on price to the buyer. In this case, if I was representing you, I try to explain what the listing agent was thinking when they priced the property at this price. In this case, this one is going right now for 447,500. After pulling I actually pulled two sets of comps. I actually pulled only comps in because the subdivision, I'm going to show you the subdivision. The subdivision on this one is Casas Adobes Villas 1 through 26. What does that mean to you? It means that there's only 26 houses in this subdivision. So sometimes we have to get out of the subdivision to be able to interpret the listing agent's price opinion, right? So I really do not like to go out of the original subdivision because all subdivisions vary by lot size and age of property, et cetera, et cetera. So when I look through this map, when I zoom out, I can see Casas Adobes Villas, and I can also see a bunch of other subdivisions that start with Casas Adobes, right? So we have Casas Adobes Estates, numbers 3A, number 3, et cetera. So there's a bunch of Casas Adobes types of neighborhoods around the property. But even from the map, you can clearly see that Casas Adobes Estates, most of them have a larger plots of land. I'm going to zoom in closer. Most of them have larger plots of land compared to Casas Adobes Villas, right? That's why sometimes the subdivision name changes from estates to villas because it's a smaller plot of land. So there's less privacy in the villas versus the estates, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, I'm assuming that the agent that listed this property either went out half a mile or a mile out to be able to use their comparables. I do not like to do that. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to go to the map view so that this is a little bit more clear to you. I actually went half a mile out. I do not like to go a full mile out because there's so many different types of subdivisions, so many types of developments, and there's also newer developments in the Orange Grove area that I have seen recently that I do not like to pull all of that to just be able to pull my comps. Especially because I know I've been to several appraisal classes and I've heard from several appraisers that they do something similar to what I do. They try to stay within the same subdivision or a similar subdivision, and they tend to gather the first 10 to 12 homes that are closest to the property to use as their comparison. So that's what I did here. I obviously grabbed whatever was in that specific subdivision and a couple of others. So that gave me, I have two sets of comps, right? One set of comps is only homes that are in a subdivision called Casas Adobes. And the other one, as you can see right here, all of my comps here are, well, I missed one, which was Westward Look Terrace, but I didn't really use that as a comparable. But most of these were in Casas Adobes Estates. And then the other one that I used was the 10 closest homes within half of a mile, right? And as you can see, it is a mix between Casas Adobes, Santa Catalina Estates, Vista de Candelas Estates. So I tend to steer away from doing this, but when, like I said, obviously the listing agent is going to be pulling their comps from around the property, and they're comparing it to whatever they want to compare it to. But this is the way that I do it before I give you an opinion as to what your offer should be, right? If it's been on the market that long, I tend to look at the history to see if they ever went into contract. As you can see right here, it doesn't show that they have gone into contract at all, right? There has been a price change. There's actually been two price changes since it's been listed. And one of the things here is that the co-agent is related to the seller. So right here, we can see that there is a little bit of, I guess maybe love. There could be some sentimental value towards the house. I'm not quite sure if it is or if it's not, but they will probably defend the price of the property. So that's why I try to find my comps. But anyways, after looking at all of my comps and crunching all of my numbers, I can clearly see why it has not sold yet and what the problem could be. One of the problems could be is they are asking a little bit more than what people are willing to pay, obviously. So if I was representing you as a buyer for this house that is listed at $447,500, I would probably tell you to offer $400,099. Well, how did I come to that conclusion, right? So when I'm looking at all the properties available for, for that area, I like to use what has closed because obviously it should have been either appraised or somebody had to have been willing to pay that cash amount. So I look at my list and I like to see, you know, what was paid for what, right? So as you can see, for a lot of these properties, a conventional loan was used, cash. There was very few cash offers, but most of these were conventional loans, especially in the Casas Adobes ones. I like to see what was used. So it is a mix of conventional cash and probably a seller carry. So I look at the condition of the property. I do look at pictures because I'm like, okay, so this one sold for really, really high. What is this one? It's within the area. And that one sold for 700,000. So obviously I look at the condition of the property. This is completely different. You can tell that it was a remodel, or maybe they actually tore it down. They may have torn it down, or they may have just raised the ceilings. There's no way for me to tell unless I started looking at blueprints. But as you can tell, this is a completely different house. It is modern contemporary. It is a unique property. So obviously I would never use this as a comparable. And the price per square foot on that one is 239.48. And then I start looking at the other ones that were comparable, and I look through the photographs. As you can see, this one is kind of comparable, but it does have kitchen renovations, floor renovations, as you can see right here. Newer appliances. So you can tell that a lot of work has been done on this one as well. You can see in the bathroom how the splash was renovated. It has a new bathtub. You can see in the plumbing fixtures, and you can see like in the rain head showers that a lot of this stuff was at some point in time upgraded. You can see it in the bathroom. So is that a comparable? I do not think so, even though it does have a pool. It also has a basketball court, which is pretty awesome. And if you actually look at the map and you look at the lot, it is a very different sized lot. And you can see it in the satellite picture as well. So is that comparable? I don't think so. This one is also really high on the price per square foot range. So those are things that I start eliminating. Um, one of the ones that was very, very comparable to that property. The only difference is that it does have a casita, but when you look at the condition, it is very similar, exposed brick. You look at the condition and you start looking, it has a circular driveway, which is very similar, exposed brick with a white wash, and you can see original features in this property, like the windows. Fireplace looks original, etc. It looks like at some point in time, maybe the tile was changed or upgraded throughout. And you can see, a lot of original features on this property. If you look at the kitchen, you can tell that the countertops were upgraded, probably the backsplash as well. And you can see it looks like the kitchen at some point in time was actually renovated. I love the ceilings on this house. It is of similar condition. If you notice, like a lot of the exposed tile is still there, and like the tile countertops, a lot of the stuff seems not 100% original because it seems as though there was some sort of upgrade at some point in time. However, this one is the closest one in condition that I could find, and the same type of build. This one also has a basketball court, and it also does have a larger lot. This is a property that gave us the lowest price per square foot. their low the asking price per square foot. Excuse me, no, that wasn't the lowest price per square foot. This one was 151.45. Um, so I try to stay somewhere within that area, and I try to pull the median price per square foot, which you can see right here on the ones that's pretty close to Casas Adobes, which is 155, 10, and 169. Long story short, after doing all of this, after crunching my numbers, I decided to go for the list price per square foot of 157.83. I multiplied that by the square footage of the house that we're currently looking at, which is the active one, and that gave me the price point of $400,099. So that's what I do on a regular basis. If if I show you houses and we see something that you like and you say pull comps, this is a process that I have to do. And sometimes it takes a little bit more time because it might be a very unique property, especially something like this one that was at $700,000 where it was completely renovated. Um, I look through some things, for example, tax records, when it sold, how much it sold for. So that one, for example, sold in 1999 for 65,000. So maybe they were just paying lot price. I do not know. So there's a lot of very interesting things that I find throughout uh, the property's history. So on this example, there's no photographs available. At some point in time, when they tried to sell it for 595,000, they had already renovated it. So this renovation was done after um, purchasing it for the 65,000. It's a really nice house, obviously very unique. So that's why I don't use that as a comparable. I hope this video was informative. Please like, share, subscribe if you want. Follow me on my Vildosa Real Estate homepage if you like to learn how I pull comparables. Uh, hope you all taking care. See you later.